Welcome. My name is Pennie Boyer. It's so good to see all my Turner Syndrome sisters and supporters again. I want to welcome you to the fourth and final devotional for the Chrysalis 2021 retreat. I am so happy and feel honored that you are taking the time and have invested in yourself by watching these short devotionals so far. And I want to tell you that if you haven't seen the first three already, by all means, take some time once you're done with this one to go onto the Leaping Butterfly Ministry YouTube channel and catch up, because I know that you won't be disappointed. So our theme for the Chrysalis 2021 retreat has been unmasking and flying with purpose. Last time we were together, we talked about finding freedom, and we said that freedom is promised, and also, and even better, freedom is possible for anyone. But when you're living with a chronic illness such as is common with Turner syndrome, it can feel really hard to live in that freedom and figure out what your purpose is in life. So we've talked about unmasking and healing and freedom first, because they are all part of the process of living the life that you were created and born to live. Finding meaning and purpose in your life is critical for your emotional health and your spiritual health, because without it, there really is no reason to get out of bed in the morning. So I want to talk to you today about how to be a butterfly that flies in freedom and with purpose. So there are three tips that I'm going to share with you today. And I want to start by talking about the first tip. The first thing I want to say to you about flying with purpose is that we need to talk to God about what our purpose is in life. We need to read His Word, and we need to talk to others. So the first tip is to ask God to read His Word and talk to others. Because when we pray about it and we ask God to reveal His purpose for this season of your life, it might not be what you expect. And you can do this by reading the Bible and noticing which verses mean the most to you. If you're really sort of confused about what direction to take and what's your purpose, then this is a really good place to start. Especially journaling about some of those verses that are important to you and what you feel God is telling you when you read those verses. So that's sort of a personal experience, but also it's really important to invite other people's inputs. Don't be afraid to talk to others about what you're thinking about, and don't be afraid to try and step out and take a risk and do some new things. I felt a couple of years back that God was putting a book on my heart. He wanted me to write a book. But this was such a big project and so far out of my comfort zone that I really needed to hear what other people thought about this. I needed uh, advice with copywriting, and I needed editing, and this was just something that I was not prepared to do on my own. So don't be afraid to try something new. I will tell you that I finally wrote that book with the help of several people and my publisher, and it was published last October. And so that felt like an amazing milestone, but it didn't happen without a lot of um, introspection and prayer and talking to others. But you know, it's not just talking to others, but it's like listening to others too. Have you heard people say to you that they like the way that you get things done, that you did something, or that you're great at working with kids, maybe? Those are things that you should listen to. They're clues to what you're good at. They're clues to where your heart is and what you're passionate about. So I would say to you that really listen to what people are saying to you about the things that you do well and the things that you don't do well. Um, I don't ever want to step in and do a math class again because I am terrible at math, and so those are things that I pay attention to. If I get called to do something that involves math or numbers, I know that I will struggle through it, but it's probably not my calling for sure. So, there are things that we are passionate and interested in. If you ever wanted to take an art class, for an example, to learn to draw or help with a Sunday school class, this might be the perfect time to start and try something new and consider it to be an experiment. It doesn't have to be, don't put any pressure on yourself to do it well. But if you do it well, then celebrate that. That is that's so cool when you try something new and it feels so great that you can do it well. Then I'll tell you, if you don't do something well, I did that. I took my own advice, and I have a really good friend who is an artist, and she invited me to take an art class with her one time, and I wanted so much to be able to draw. And I just loved the work that she was doing, but I drew like stick people. I just could not draw. And to this day, I love to be creative in other ways, but I cannot draw or do art for if my life depended on it. So there are some things that we're good at and some things that we're not. And we need to take sort of a personal inventory. So that's my second tip. The second thing I want to talk about is rediscovering your gifts and talents. So this is, like I said, taking a personal inventory of things like, what are you passionate about? What is there in your life that you can share with others? And the answers in my life, one of the things that I am really passionate about is I love to do scrapbooking. And scrapbooking is something in my life that I can share with others. It's something that I can do and offer others as a gift. It's something that I can share my time with when we have a scrapbooking party and we just, share life together and enjoy each other's work and stuff. It's just something that is really enjoyable and does not take energy from me. In fact, it gives me energy. And so those are the things that you need to pay attention to. If the activity that you're doing, what you're being asked to do, fills your cup up, it gives you energy, as opposed to feeling completely drained and without any energy after it. That's a pretty good clue that you're doing what you ought to be doing. I am, the more that I see girls and women with Turner syndrome, I just believe with my whole heart that they have so much that they can give to others and can be an amazing impact on the lives of those around them. So don't devalue what we have to offer, because there is so much that we can offer the world that is around us. But It is just critical for those of us with turners to look for ways to share our gifts and talents with others in our church, and in our community. And I say this because doing this, looking for ways to share your gifts and talents, it contributes to building our own self-esteem, our feelings of value and self-worth. It helps to overcome the social isolation, and it gives us a sense of belonging. So, you know what? Even though having turners might not allow you to run a marathon, but you might enjoy being outdoors, and perhaps you could use your photography skills to capture those future beautiful outdoors nature moments. You can enjoy what you do enjoy and use a skill, um, like photography or anything else that will help you enjoy being outdoors and being active. So I say that because I just want to encourage you not to be afraid to take a risk. So finding your life's purpose might require that you explore some uncharted territory. And again, I want to remind you that you might not succeed at everything you try, but the experience that you gain will enrich your life, and the lessons that you learn will be valuable ones, I can assure you. Okay, the third tip that I want to share with you is that you need to set boundaries. This sounds a little bit odd, but bear with me because you'll see how important this is. I want to talk about setting boundaries because I want to remind you how important it is to eliminate toxic relationships from your life. There are few things more draining on our energy and resources than being involved in dysfunctional relationships. People who constantly blame you for their problems or criticize your choices or discount your feelings, those are the people I'm talking about. Those are toxic relationships that you need to be very careful with. If, for example, somebody's company continually drains you, it might be a sign of an unhealthy relationship. And you need to learn to establish boundaries so that you can exercise your freedom and fly with purpose. So the other thing I want to talk to you is forgiving those who fail you. So you need to eliminate toxic people from your life, but you also need to forgive people who have failed you, because over time you need to understand that our friends will fail us, people we work with will disappoint us, and even people in your church will fail you and sometimes even betray you. And those are harsh words, but we need to forgive people who disappoint us, and we need to move on. The disappointment in others is a fact of life. And, I would love to talk with you and chat with you about those things. I wish we had more time to do that today, but we could. I would love to chat with you about those things. Um, Most of the time, we want to write people off, and no longer have a relationship with them, after they've hurt us. But that's not what Jesus modeled for us. So we need to forgive. We need to forgive people. Choosing between good and best. This is really important for people who have chronic illnesses, because our physical and our emotional resources will limit the choices that we can make. So we need to decide who and what adds meaning to your life and invest in those relationships, and let some of the other relationships and activities fall away. As difficult as that sounds and as difficult as that seems, it means deciding on what's important to you and setting priorities. Now, if this sounds kind of harsh and you're not really sure how to navigate this, talk to someone you trust about this, because sometimes a fresh perspective is just what you need. So, flying with purpose while we're living with Turners can seem like a really daunting task, but take heart. With a little knowledge and some creativity, some encouragement from others, it really is possible. Just remember that God has a plan and a purpose for your life, and He will lead you each step of the way. It doesn't change just because you have a label and some limitations. So here's what I want you to take away from the live stream from this today. Talking about Turners can sometimes be a downer because it reminds us of our limitations. But the thing is, our limitations force us to see a relationship with God and ourselves and others in a new light. So we have a choice to make. We can decide to put our lives on hold and hope that someone will come along and fix our problems. Or we can decide to trust that God knows what He's talking about and what He's doing with us and the reason that we are born in the first place, and decide what that might look like. I know for every person, especially those with Turners, it is possible to live the life that you were created to live. So it's been a real joy to be here with you, to share this time at the Chrysalis 2021 virtual retreat with you. We've talked about unmasking and coming out of hiding and healing, finding freedom, and now flying with purpose. So the Leaping Butterfly community is a perfect place to exercise your freedom and healing and to experiment with finding your purpose in life. So I would invite you to watch any of the videos on the Leaping Butterfly YouTube channel and subscribe to it so you know when the new videos are being released. But also you're welcome to join the Facebook group called Butterfly Nectar. The Leaping Butterfly Facebook group is a discussion group, a safe place for people, anybody whose lives have been touched by Turner syndrome. And it's a place to connect and chat with each other about your experiences. So I would just love to meet you there and to be able to chat further about any of the things that we've talked about, especially what we've talked about at the Chrysalis 2021 retreat. So I am going to sign off and wish you God's best and His blessings for today, and praying that we will connect and be able to chat at the Butterfly Nectar page. So bye for now, and we will see you again soon.